How we doing?
Hey, Mike, how you doing? Hello, Mike, how are you?
Always thinking ahead.
There's a lot of water down there. I used to swim with just moved so far down.
Would like to call to order the Tuesday, June 3rd, 2025 meeting of the Danville City Council. Madam Clerk, roll call to establish a quorum, please.
Mayor Ricky Williams Jr.,
Present.
Alderman Ed Butler, Carolyn Wands,
Present.
James Bouchard,
Present.
Tom Hightower,
Present.
Mike O'Kane,
Here.
Mike Poore,
Present.
Rick Streebing,
Here.
Sherry Pickering,
Here.
Tricia Teague, Eve Ludwig,
Present.
Jaleel Jones, Doug Arns,
Here.
John Cooper,
Here.
11 physically present with 1 alderman to join the meeting by electronic attendance.
Thank you very much. At this time, we will have the invocation led by Minister Dale Danville from the Second Church of Christ, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance led by Alderman Arns. Please rise.
Well, first of all, Mayor Williams and Alderman, thank you so much for your service to our city. And thank you for the invitation to have our prayer tonight. Let's pray. Well, our Heavenly Father, we're thankful for the opportunity that we've had today to live today. Thanks for every blessing that you have poured out onto us. And I pray, Father, that this evening will be a time of great reflection and discussion. And I want to thank you for each of the aldermen and for our mayor and for the service that they bring to our city. I pray that you would give each one wisdom and discernment. And I thank you for all who are here to listen and to be a part of the discussion tonight. And Father, I pray that we would just all do justly and to love mercy and to walk humbly before you tonight. We pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Pastor Danil, we would love to hear about anything that you've got going on at the church or that you've had recently or that you have coming up.
Absolutely. Well, I'll just mention one thing. Every year for the past 10 years, our church have been the host site for the Global Leadership Summit, and it's a live stream event that originates out of Chicago, and it is 2 days, August 7th and 8th, of outstanding world-class leadership teaching, and so it's open to the community, and you can register on our website. We'd love to have each of you. You'll see a lot of people from the city that's a part of this event. We usually have about 300 in attendance, so we'd love to have you all. So thank you.
Thank you very much. At this time, I would entertain a motion to approve the electronic attendance by Alderman Ting pursuant to Section 31.4 B2B. Is there a motion to do so?
So moved. Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion or debate? Seeing none, all.
Mayor, it is for employment purposes.
That's correct. Yes, for employment purposes. Thank you. Is there any discussion or debate? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Same sign. Thank you. Thank you, Alderman Teague, for joining us. Council, I know that I've said this a number of times, but I will reiterate this now more than ever because our technology is limited here until we get to the new building. It's going to be imperative that you speak into the microphone. Also to the public, when you come to the podium, it's imperative that you speak into the microphone so that people can hear you in the not only in the audience, but also in the audio recording online, but also so that Alderman Teague will be able to hear you as well, okay? So please make sure that you speak clearly and into the microphone so that everyone can hear. Thank you very much. At this time, you have the minutes before you. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion or debate? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same time. Thank you very much. You also have the agenda for you this evening. Unfortunately, we had inadvertently, Chairman Poore, left off the Public Works Committee report.
Maybe we just won't meet then.
No, I think we've got to do that. So we will add as an item 13, the Public Works Committee report. And then after that, then that would make closed session number 14, items of information number 15, and adjournment number 16. Is there a motion to approve the agenda as amended?
So moved. Second.
Any discussion or debate? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Thank you very much. Items from me, we do not have any proclamations, board, committee, or personnel appointments. Are there any reports of boards, agencies, or commissions? Seeing none, we have two items of information this evening. And the first is to honor someone who is an outgoing alderman. I was really excited, gosh, it's probably been 6 or 7 years ago, 6 years ago, when I was elected as mayor to choose someone to be my successor in Ward 1. I was incredibly honored and proud to have Alderman Williams come to us in that position. Alderman Williams was someone who fought diligently for the people in his ward. He was someone who was always seeking their input. Also, he was someone that the neighbors could speak to at any time. Folks stopped by his house, they called him, and he was always there for his constituents. And the other thing that I appreciate about Alderman is that his concern for the greater community. Although he certainly looked out for all of the folks in Ward 1 like he should, he looked out for this entire community as a whole. So at this time, Alderman, if you would just meet me at the podium, I would like to honor you with a gift, and then the floor will be yours to say a few words. So Alderman, I have two things for you. Your name plaque, of course, which we'd like for you to have. And then we also have a little memento of our thanks. It says, presented to Robert Williams, City Alderman from 2021 to 2025, with sincere thanks for your many years of dedicated and unselfish service to the city of Danville. And I just noticed they made an error on the dates on that. And so I am going to have them correct that for you and redo it, okay? I apologize to you. We will get it fixed, I promise. All right.
Is this on?
Yes,
Thank
sir.
You. Thank you, Mayor Williams. I am honored and very humbled to receive this award. I would like to thank all the mayors and his staff, my fellow aldermen and women that I had the pleasure of serving with during my term. I hope that the service I had during the 6 years that I was an alderman helped the people in my Ward 1, as well as the city of Danville. The problems of plight, abandoned properties, loss of income, loss of factories and jobs in the city is a continuous problem that the Danville, as well as cities in the state, will have to overcome. We must all come together and work towards eliminating these problems for our city and our citizens within. Danville is a creative and caring community. As we stand here in the city, we must all participate and be active to make sure that Danville becomes a great city again. From the speech of Dr. Martin Luther King, we shall overcome. We shall overcome.
Yes.
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 Thank you.
And while we celebrate on today the service of Alderman Williams, we also want to acknowledge and remember the service of our brother Bob Iverson, who we recently lost. Bob was someone who served on the city council twice. Once in the initial change of the form of government from 1987 to 1993, he served in Ward 3. Then he moved at some point, so he couldn't serve. He obviously couldn't represent that ward anymore. And many moons later, all the way in 2019, he rejoined us here on the city council. One of the things that I appreciated about the most about Bob is he believed in the saying, "In all things, get an understanding." He was a man who would listen and seek to understand despite whether or not he agreed with or supported another position. He would make sure that he understood what you were trying to say. And guess what? If you could provide Bob with good information, then he would come around and support you and change his mind. And I think that that's what we've all got to be willing to do. If we're shown better information, if we're shown a better way, we have to be willing to reconsider what we say. He was not only that, he was someone that I could speak to and run things over when there were tough situations. And I will certainly miss my friend. We also lost one of our long-serving alderwomen, Mrs. Lois Cooper, this past weekend. Mrs. Cooper was one of the first women to be elected to government in the city of Danville. She was known as hard copy because she wanted to see it in writing, man, because to make sure it was factual and make sure it was true. And what I appreciated about her is that she just liked to hold everyone to account, but she really also cared about her people. So at this time, in honor of both of these individuals, I would like us to acknowledge with a moment of silence, please. Thank you. At this time, she was not a council member, but I also want to make sure that I acknowledge Mrs. Joanne Adams. Joanne ran the Humane Society for a lot of years, and honestly, it was probably after she left that when things started to struggle. I'm really proud of the young lady that's there now, Alyssa Julian. She's done a good job of fighting for our animals and taking good care of them and making sure they're treated humanely. But we just want to remember Mrs. Adams because she was a good help to this city for a long time. It was just a couple of days ago. So all that to say, we're losing a lot of our elder statesmen, and we've got to step up. And that's why it's good that we have young folks like Alderman Jones joining us. So at this time, I would like to officially announce a vacancy in Ward 7 Alderman seat. And to let you know that according to state statute, that I will fill that within 60 days. If there's anyone in Ward 7 who might be interested in serving, please do reach out to me as soon as possible. I have already heard from a couple of individuals. So I know we have at least one or two good candidates in order already. Okay. Yes.
Mayor, can you sort of go through the process that you anticipate to be
Yes.
to come to that conclusion?
So in any position that we have available, whether it be alderman or whether it be on any of the boards, what I ask individuals to do is to submit a letter of interest to me to review. Then I interview potential candidates, and then I make a recommendation based on that to the city council for consideration.
Do they appear before the city council before you've made a decision?
No, sir. Madam Clerk, at this time, we will receive our petitions, communications, and audience comments. As the clerk will remind you, we only have you have 3 minutes to speak, and because we have a number of folks here this evening and we wish to take care of our business expeditiously, we will hold you to that 3 minutes. So when you hear the buzzer, please conclude your remarks.
Thank you, Mayor. Has everyone had a chance to complete a yellow audience comment card who wishes to speak this evening? Okay, when I call your name, please come to the podium, and as Mayor Williams indicated, you'll have 3 minutes to speak. First, I have Barb, Olmsted, and Phil regarding curb and house next door.
He elected me to speak because he thinks I don't stutter as much. Ricky just told me the house next door is on the list for the next 2 months. 2 months. 2 months, right? 2 months.
Yes.
Okay. I said, 2 months?
Some folks have been waiting 20 years.
It feels like 20 years. On a different subject, this is right outside my front door. It's looked like this for 6 months. 40-some years ago, my husband planted some trees in the curb to protect the front of our house from the late afternoon sun. We had been taking care of my elderly mother. We came home one morning, and the trees had been cut down, unbeknownst to us, and the sidewalk torn up. This is all the sawdust and cones, and it's looked like that since one day in February. They came back and put one section of sidewalk in. It took 7 of them one day in February, and nothing's been done since. Should it look like that after all this time? People can't pull up and pick me up for an event, drop me off. I have to walk around. It just seems a little excessive. Would you want that in your front yard? After 6 months?
No, ma'am.
Yeah. I have no way of disposing of it, nor should I have to. It extends to my neighbor's yard also. I just think it's a little excessive. Besides the mess next door.
Yeah. Yeah, speaking of the mess next door, there's a portion of this house that is falling in. It's a 2-story house and it's falling in. One part was coming down. It would have come through our front window and damaged property inside. If somebody had been sitting there in front of the window, they'd probably been killed. But a scrub tree that is also being allowed to grow there blocked it off, and there's a pile of junk inside. We prepared some pictures to show you
because you really can't appreciate it from the street.
Yeah, so
you have to be sitting in my dining room.
At your pleasure, I will pass these around and let you guys look at them at your leisure. Beginning with the curbside appeal to this property.
What's the address? What's the address?
608 Fairchild. I could have coasters made for everybody.
Thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Olmsted.
Pictures put on them. But, the last picture in this shows that the house is 10 feet from our house.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
That was the alarm.
Is that it? I just put the alarm.
Dave Finn of Danville regarding a violation.
Good evening. I'll try to be brief. Last October, I bought a vacant lot for $900 on South Street to plant some apple trees because I feel pretty passionately about green spaces. I'm a teacher over in Champaign. So about last month, I planted the apple trees, and the neighbor had some trash in the on my property. So I asked them to move it, tried to be neighborly. I didn't want to move it. It was all their stuff. So they said they'd get to it. Well, they didn't get to it. I asked again. They said they'll get to it. Eventually, I just moved out of the way and mowed the grass. But then when I got home, I got a violation in the mail for trash on my property. So I called the guy, Rick Brown, no answer. Called him again, left a message. I had mowed the grass and I had taken care of the trash, and I thought, well, this will get figured out. Couldn't get a hold of him. And then a couple days later, I got another violation in the mail for trash and overgrown grass, even though I'd been out there to mow the grass. And then just last week, I got another thing in the mail, and I'm a defendant in a claim, and I got to go to court for it. So I don't know if someone could just write down that address, 428 South Street, and try to take care of the case, because I'm out there every week mowing the grass and watering the trees. So I don't know. It's almost like I'm getting pranked at this point with how many letters I'm getting, and then now I got to go to court. All I'm trying to do is plant some apple trees. But yeah, so I don't know if anyone has any questions, but hopefully someone can remember that address and give me a call. Or I don't know if my name will be recorded that I spoke or.
Yes, did you put your contact information on the card?
I did,
sir?
yeah.
Okay, yeah. Someone from legal will be in touch with you.
428 South Street, yeah, over by the jail, I think it is, a couple blocks east of there.
You said, and who was
Rick Brown.
Rick Brown?
Ricky Brown?
That's an inspector?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Is it another one, Daniel Brown?
Yeah.
There are 6 of them. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so hopefully let me know. It seems kind of silly to have to go to court for that. I don't know with how much torn down houses there are and stuff like that, but yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Elena Moore of, well, I'm not sure if she's from Danville or not. It's regarding environmental issues, current projects, and energy efficiency.
Hello. Hello. Can't tell if this is working or not. Okay. So I am Elena Moore. I am a AmeriCorps Vista serving with Prairie Rivers Network out of Champaign. We do environmental issues in downstate Illinois. I have some papers for you guys. Can I pass them around?
Sure.
Thank you. I have a brief script that I'm going to read to you guys. I try not to take too much time. So, as you all probably know, Vermilion County is a historic coal community. Though that coal built our community, it has also left scars on the land that need to be reclaimed. The Illinois Department of Natural Resources has funds to clean up that abandoned mine land. It's by priority, and you can also do it on public or private land. My email is at the bottom of the sheet for people who are not getting this passed around to them. I can also give you my email. Give me shoot me a message. There we go. If you have abandoned mine land that you would like to try to get reclaimed. Next is coal ash. So the Vermilion County Power Station has 3 coal ash ponds. They are awaiting permission to move those coal ash ponds to a high and dry, safer coal ash pond. We at Prairie Rivers Network are trying to help move that process along so that it's not sitting there longer than necessary, and we're trying to get some information out before it's suddenly thrown back in your faces with public comment periods. So if anybody has questions about that, I have a longer sheet for coal ash that you can learn about. And then Danville and surrounded areas are able to participate in quite a few energy efficiency programs here in Illinois, from Solar to All and Ameren efficiency programs that can cut some costs on your energy bills. Please feel free to reach out to me, and I can also try to get people in contact with Ameren and help go through the process of getting solar. Finally, the Illinois Clean Jobs Institute is working to share and learn the stories of coal miners here in Illinois. So if you or anyone you love knows someone who is a coal miner or was a coal miner themselves, let me know. I will give you this sheet. We're trying to record oral history so those stories aren't lost. Any questions?
Thank you very much.
Next audience comment cards that I have, or the next few I should say, are for the public camping ordinance, item 12B on the agenda. So I'll just call your name. I won't call state the subject. First, I have Michael Ewing of Danville.
Good evening, y'all. Good evening. Michael Ewing, President of the Board of Directors for Danville Rescue. Last time I was before y'all, we were pleading for help to get open. With the help of the Lord, we were able to open March 31st. We secured insurance, cost us $8,000 to get insurance, which we've done.
Mr. Ewing, would you please make sure you speak into the microphone? Thank you, sir.
We converted the women's shelter into a 24 overnight bed shelter for homeless men. We're averaging about 8 guys a night. We're giving them a hot meal. My famous thing is a famous quote: you can lead a horse to the water, but you can't make them drink. My response to the homeless situation that we have at Ellsworth is that we're open. They do have somewhere to go, some of them. So I plead with them. We go and we make rounds, and we've got people asking and almost begging them to come. We can house up to 24. It's not a lot, but it's something. I'd like to tell the mayor thank you. He's been helping us. He expedited some of our the coding inspectors to come out, and also we've recently had some inspectors come out as of today with Brother Kronk with the 834 Bowman, the old Fairchild School. I'm not a professional in that area of inspecting and everything, but I think with some adequate funding, a lot of money, I'd hate to see that building just go to waste. It has everything that we need. We have the willingness. We just don't have the funding. We need help. We have the problem down there. We need some of the people in higher places to care about the homeless people in Danville. The likes, the hearts, the likes, the loves, and all of that, that's not doing anything. We need help. We have a couple of people that's going to be writing some grants from us. We're novice when it comes to it. We just have the want to. I'm a retired disabled veteran. I operated heavy equipment. I've never been in nonprofit. I'm new to all of that. But God delivered me from being a drug addict and alcoholic, and my calling is to go back and try to reach people that are still in the dark. Homelessness is an addiction, mentally, physically, whatever, but we just can't throw them away. So if you find it in your heart and you find it in your mindset and your resources, help us. Not just, say that, oh, pat us on the back. We pat on the back doesn't pay our bills. $2,500 a month insurance. It's the donations of the people that care. We're feeding them every night. We have a freezer full of food. We have cooks that's cooking the food. We have people that's helping, but it's not enough. We have clothes. Everybody wants to donate clothes, and we accept clothes. We have a school. He saw it today. A school full of clothes. But clothes doesn't pay bills. We drop off old appliances as we do our spring cleanups. That's great. But how about $10? If we're going to start making pledges to churches and organizations and businesses, $25 a month, $50 a month. We're good stewards. We've proven ourselves. We're not thieves. We're not trying to get over. I don't want a dime, and I'm definitely not going to jail. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Our board members, we don't get a penny. Brother Trent Sherfield blessed us with a $15,000 donation. And I thank him that he found in his heart to entrust us with $15,000. But that $15,000 is not going toward helping us far as going forward. It's to pay past debts that's owed. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ewing. Mr. Ewing, I just want to thank you and Mrs. Ewing and the rest of the board for all of the good work that you do. Just so that you all know, one of the reasons we are doing the assessment of the facility is so that we can see what it would take to get it back up to par and to get it running. And we don't have full expertise of that ourselves, and so that's why we've sent experts to partner with them so we can do an assessment to see what it will take to bring that building back on board. So I just appreciate your efforts in the meantime. And if you can, I'm a budget shopper. Sister Ewing can tell you, she sees me buying stuff from me all the time at Meijer that's on sale, right? You go in somewhere and you see something nice on sale. I got some really good sandwich meat and bread and took sandwiches and salads over there one night. You don't have to, it doesn't have to be a whole lot or a whole big thing. And the other thing is, like they said, they need money because they have food. They're doing pretty good on food, but they need money. So if you would consider that, it's a good way to support the community. I hear people say all the time, we want to help the homeless, but what are you actually doing? Like he said, likes and loves and hearts don't help. But money and time and effort and your talents and your treasures does help. So please just make sure you remember that.
Deontay Brooks of Danville.
Good evening, Mayor, Councilman. I'm here to talk about the homeless situation, but before I start on that, I would also like to say that I expect a lot of my councilmen and the mayor and people who represent our city, and we should not be cussing each other out, and we treat each other with dignity and respect in everything we do because our children are watching us. I just wanted to put that out there. As someone deeply committed to equity, community empowerment, and sustainable solutions. I want citizens of Danville to understand how this ordinance could shape our city, not just today, but years to come. While public safety and sanitation are important, we must also ask, what are the ripple effects? This ordinance bans camping and sleeping in public properties in Danville. It affects individuals experiencing homelessness the most, potentially criminalizing them for not having shelter. It raises concerns about human dignity, property rights, and access to safe places to sleep. One part that I read where they can't have any items that expire in 30 days. So if I got a loaf of bread and a jar of peanut butter, the police can just take it from me and throw it away if they catch me out there with it. I'm already homeless and now I don't have any food to eat. That is in that ordinance. That's what it says, I read it. The city they give you 24 hours. So what I'm asking is that the city partner with people like Mr. Hewing and the Danville shelter so we can get those people out of the woods, out from about campsite fires and stuff like that. So how many beds does the city have that we can provide for people? What follow-up services will we have for people? We're talking about mental health. People ain't just on the streets because they want to be in the streets. There's usually some other underlying issue that they have. I ain't never met a man in the military that wanted to be homeless ever in his life. There's usually something else going on. So we got to figure out and we got to work on those things. So I would ask you guys as a city council let's do a budget evaluation. How much would it cost to provide services for these people versus criminalizing these people? Let's look at that. So it's also, this ordinance is going to increase fear, mistrust for the unhoused individuals between the local authorities. So they're just going to start running, they're going to start hiding, they'll just find somewhere else to go. Like, all right, so we gonna get them out of Ellsworth Park so they'll be somewhere else. Thank you for y'all time.
Thank you, Mr. Brooks.
Jessica Laffler of Danville.
Hi, my name is Jessica Laffler. I am a teacher at Kenneth D. Bailey Academy here in town, and I wanted to speak briefly on the proposed ordinance. This ordinance is the antithesis of community. As a community, we should be providing resources to our residents who need help. This looks like supporting initiatives to solve our housing crisis, such as homeless shelters and the Tiny House Initiative spearheaded by Hope Garrett. It looks like supporting our community gardens, who aim to help in food shortages and build connections with our unhoused population. It looks like providing job and skills training to help our residents find gainful employment. And it looks like providing affordable options for rent instead of the dilapidated homes in our community owned by slumlords. Finding one of our most vulnerable populations for surviving within city limits is not what community is about. Giving them the opportunity to work off fines is not what community is about. Camping within city limits is a symptom of a larger problem that has not been addressed. I urge you to work towards providing community supports, such as expanded shelters, better rental options, community gardens, food pantries, and job and skills training before you work toward punishing residents who feel one of their only options is to sleep outside. Thank you.
Deanne Ryan.
Hello, I have to say up front that I wrote this before I listened to the public service meeting. I was out of town when that happened. I listened to it before I came, and I really have to say that Chief Yates is not here, but I think I saw him on Facebook, he's in Florida. Has done an outstanding job of researching and coming up with some ideas and assurances that people will get help. Having been in this area for almost 35 years, a lot of it doesn't get done. There's waiting lists, it just doesn't happen. I wish it did. So while it's obvious that a solution has to be discussed, and also from what I've heard from people that I've talked to, is that not a lot of people who really know what's going on were consulted about this. So maybe that's not true. Like I said, I've been out of town with a family issue. But I do want people to know, if you don't, that we do have a continuum of care in this county. And it has to concern itself with periodic counts. Once a year we do the homeless count. And these issues and needs need to be brought to their attention if they haven't already. It's a local planning body that coordinates housing and services funding for families and individuals experiencing homelessness. They're charged with ensuring that people receive quality services through a continuum of care ranging from outreach, emergency and transitional housing, supportive service, and assistance in gaining housing and self-sufficiency. This council needs to participate in that continuum of care when coming up with solutions like this. My biggest concern when I read the ordinance, though, is the verbiage that says, in addition to any other remedy provided by law or this ordinance, any person found in violation of this sanction may be immediately removed from the premises where the campsite is located. Okay, where did they go? What do you do with them? I think that they deserve to have clear direction and understanding what steps will be taken. So the next steps and other options need to be clearly detailed, as to there will be widely varying opinions on what to do with these folks. I can't even imagine taking them out of there. What are you going to do with them? Okay, for one thing, I've been asking for years that there be a citywide housing development council, which includes citizens, to investigate the need for and opportunities for housing, and it's not happened. The community is very uninformed and misinformed about the types of housing, especially affordable housing, which could and should be developed in Danville. In my opinion, building two $150,000 homes in Danville is an accomplishment, but it shouldn't be celebrated as the solution to the real problems of the homeless people and the families living in their cars in parking lots. So we do have to pay attention to these issues, and I understand that it's a critical situation with the people in the park, but I do think we need to be clear about what we're going to do with these folks and how we're going to help them. I heard on the city council thing that TASK is supposed to be helping them. Maybe it's changed from when I was working in the area. TASK was for criminals, for people who had a criminal background history. I just think we have to be clear. Another thing, I think when we have these discussions, we need to include the townships. Townships have a role in this. Champaign Township took on the issue of homelessness. They built homes for people, they ran programs, and did things. I don't know that anybody ever talks to the townships about these types of issues. So also, the one thing I do want to stress is the idea of community service to pay off the fine may sound wonderful. We've had those programs forever and ever, and there's no work for them to do. So it's setting them up to fail.
Colleen Mahoney.
Good evening. Good evening, Mayor Williams and esteemed council members, and thank you for the opportunity to provide testimony tonight. My name is Colleen Mahoney, and I'm the Assistant Director of the state's Office to Prevent and End Homelessness, which is a central state office around homelessness investment and policy that works with communities across the state. I am here tonight to urge you not to pass this ordinance. No matter what we are dealing with in our lives, what our incomes are, or where we are born, we all need a safe place to sleep at night. This policy, which allows for ticketing and jailing of people sleeping or eating outside, will actively move your community away from the future you deserve. As public officials, we have a specific responsibility to strengthen our communities and the opportunity to make a difference. That's why I'm asking you to vote no on this ordinance, which will make this problem worse. My office leads Illinois' work toward a future where we care for people experiencing homelessness with compassion and are able to quickly support them in reconnecting with housing. We developed the state's Home Illinois plan to lead interagency work to prevent and end homelessness, which is cited in the first whereas clause of this ordinance. We are here to support your community's work to prevent and end homelessness. Homelessness is driven by housing costs, not individual decisions, not individual struggles, but by housing costs. Across our state, we do not have the amount of shelter or housing we need today. Even in the midst of this reality, it is possible to make significant progress and end homelessness within a community. For example, in Rockford, they have been able to reach and sustain an end to veteran and chronic homelessness for over 8 years. They did this through improving service systems and listening deeply to people experiencing homelessness, not through ticketing and fining. We understand that communities are in difficult positions, and at this time, it is more critical than ever that we're making evidence-based policy decisions. When we push our most vulnerable community members further and further into the margins, forcing them to move along or face a fine or arrest, there is an impact. If passed, this ordinance will foster fear and mistrust between people experiencing homelessness, social service providers, and law enforcement officers. This distrust will actively harm people's progress toward housing. What's more, these policies are a poor use of public resources, and enforcing them costs 3 times more than providing housing. With precious municipal dollars, we urge you to make investments in evidence-based solutions to end homelessness and not in the costs you will incur for ticketing and jail. We believe in following nationally recognized practices and closing encampments where people are moved out of encampments when there is a housing plan in place and people have a place to go. I urge you not to pass this ordinance. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jim Pichetti of Plainfield, Illinois.
Good evening. My name is Jim Pichetti, and I'm the Central and Southern Illinois Community Organizer with the Chicago Coalition to End Homelessness. I'll be reading a statement from Rebecca Lavin from Task tonight. Good evening, Mayor Williams, Danville City Council, and City Manager. My name is Rebecca Levin, and I am the Vice President of Policy at Task Incorporated, which stands for Treatment Alternatives for Safe Communities. Tonight, we ask you that you do not take the vote on the proposed camping ordinance. As many of you know, Task has been delivering deflection services in Vermilion County through the DART, which stands for Deflection Avenues Reconnection Team Initiative. Deflection is an upstream approach that allows law enforcement to refer people experiencing challenges like homelessness or substance use disorders to a task deflection specialist, rather than arresting the person and too frequently be faced with rearresting them in the very near future. Task has had fruitful discussions with Chief Yates and others in the Danville Police Department, as well as with the Illinois State Police's Vermilion Metro Enforcement Group. We delivered shift briefings on deflection and how law enforcement can make referrals at the end of March, and the department started making referrals to our deflection team in April. Task deeply values our collaboration with law enforcement in Danville and Vermilion County, and we would love the opportunity to see how this new and growing initiative can meet the needs of the Danville community. Task respectfully requests that the proposed ordinance be tabled until we have more data and experience from this initiative, as well as more opportunity for discussions with local service providers. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I just want to note briefly that we have begun partnering with DART and for the last 2 months, and Deputy Chief McCord will be providing more information about that as we get to that ordinance.
Liam Wheeler from Bloomington, Illinois.
These people.
Good evening. Thank you, Mayor and City Council members, for allowing me to speak here tonight. I am grateful for the opportunity to partner with your community and share my experience, both as a professional and a formerly homeless individual. So I am speaking tonight in opposition to the proposed anti-camping ordinance. And I'm asking that the City Council table voting on this ordinance until a more strategic plan to impact homelessness is established. My name is Liam Wheeler. I'm the coordinator for the Central Illinois Continuum of Care. It is my job to strategize how to prevent and end homelessness in 11 counties in Central Illinois, including Vermilion. So the Continuum of Care, for those that don't know, is a federal program tasked with empowering communities by leveraging federal, state, and local resources in order to effectively end homelessness in their region. In the first 2 quarters of this year, 224 of all calls made to 211 in Vermilion County were by individuals looking for housing assistance and shelter. Of those calls, individuals asked for rental assistance, hotel vouchers, homeless shelters, and low-income subsidized rentals. These numbers are on track to meet or exceed the previous year of 564 calls. Working with this community to find a viable solution is important to me, not just as a professional, but as someone who experienced homelessness. I came to Illinois fleeing domestic violence. I lost almost everyone I cared about, and the only thing I had left was a cello that I carried on my back. I wandered the streets at night, unable to sleep, terrified that I would be arrested by police for sleeping outside. I was unable to ask for help, and I was unsure of where to turn. I was convinced that if I didn't smoke meth for just one more day, maybe I would be okay. The only time that I could sleep was in the middle of the day when I couldn't keep going. I would nap for just a few hours underneath a tree in a park, praying that I would not get in trouble with the law. When I became homeless, I did not know that there was help, but eventually was put on a list, and finally a bed opened for me. I spent 6 months rebuilding my life, learning how to live again. They gave me space to be messy and not have it all figured out. I felt worthless. But the providers gave me an intense compassion, working to show up in my life when I couldn't show up for myself. I had nothing to offer, no hope, but they gave me a reason to stay alive. I will never forget someone saying for the first time in my life, "I am glad that you are here." This month, I'm celebrating 9 years free of meth and alcohol, and I serve my community by supporting the service providers that once supported me. In Danville, it is said that you decide what is possible. So I'm asking you today to table the anti-camping ordinance. Please give us an opportunity to find a solution together. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wheeler.
Kayla White.
Hello. My name is Kayla Wright, and I am a reporter for the Commercial News. But tonight, I come to you as a concerned citizen. My opinions are my own. Those gathered here may not know this, but aside from being a journalist, I am an award-winning author and a mother of 4, 3 of whom are teenagers. I have raised my children largely on my own, and for the majority of their lives, we have lived well below the poverty line. We have been homeless several times. The last time, in 2022, my mother had just died. 3 months later, I lost my job, and the following month, my landlady decided to sell our house. I had 30 days to figure something out. I was unemployed, had no savings, no friends or family who could help, nothing I could sell, but I was supposed to come up with enough money to pay a deposit, first and last month's rent, and the cost of living. I was unable to. 3 of my kids went to live with their father in Canada, and my eldest went to stay with friends in Champaign. I slept on my sister's floor for several months until I found a place I currently live in, a 2-bedroom apartment, where I have to sleep in the living room so that my 4 kids have bedrooms. I have a degree. I have won several awards for my work. I am eloquent and intelligent. I have never done drugs, and I don't even drink alcohol. I am a contributing member of society, a taxpayer, utilizing all the resources available to me, and yet I still suffer in poverty. I am never more than one bad month away from homelessness. Please hear me when I say that homelessness is the last possible option. No one chooses to live outside, to lose their belongings and sense of security, to be cold or sweltering, to sleep on the hard ground. Unhoused people are people with the same needs and fears and hurts as you. This council opens every meeting with a prayer to Jesus, a notable champion of the poor. Believe it or not, I went to Bible college, and I know Jesus very well. I would advise you all to read your scriptures again, especially Jesus' words in Luke chapter 14, verses 13 and 14. When you give a banquet, invite the poor, the crippled, the lame, the blind, and you will be blessed. Although they cannot repay you, you will be repaid at the resurrection of the righteous. This ordinance tonight does not invite the poor to your proverbial banquet, regardless of the flowery language. The ordinance is about one thing and one thing only: keeping the upper-class members of this community from having to witness the poverty and suffering of their fellow humans. Before you consider such a heartless ordinance, I implore you to put your words into action. Be like Jesus. Leave the comfort of your home and go to those encampments. Look into their eyes and acknowledge their humanity. Put yourself in their shoes. If you truly want to help Michael Warren and the people who are trying to make a difference in their lives. Thank you.
Molly Goodwin of Danville.
Good evening. If I haven't had the pleasure of meeting you, I'm Molly Goodwin. I am the Executive Director of Serve Together Vermilion County, and I thank you for your time tonight. In the last several days, I've had the privilege of speaking to many of you, including all the aldermen here, Mayor Williams, and Chief Yates. I would first like to thank you for all your work that you do, all your time, your concern, your interest that you invest into our community, our city, Danville. And I have no doubt that the role you play is difficult and trying at times. And I want you to know, that I appreciate you. I contacted you all in the recent days to discuss this ordinance that's being on the agenda tonight regarding the folks in our community that are homeless. I asked each of you to consider tabling this ordinance in the effort to allow the folks who directly serve the homeless the opportunity to come together around a table to discuss together. That will give us time to allow, with the city, with your help, how we can determine strategies and solutions that will benefit the whole city. I firmly believe, and I told each of you on the phone, that I know rules and regulations are absolutely necessary. That's not in question here. I wholeheartedly agree the situation at Ellsworth Park was unacceptable and out of hand. There has to be policies and plans in place to care for our city. But I also know without a plan and without a strategy, those rules and regulations are of little value. For instance, in this case, they can lack that compassion, that love, that care, that concern for these folks in our community, right here in our city, and for the folks that work tirelessly to serve them and help them. While we may not like what they look like, what they're doing, where they're living, how they're living, where they're staying, all those things, they are still a part of our community. They're a part of our city. And it is our responsibility to love them and care for them and serve them as people, as humans. The purpose of Serve Together, the organization that I serve with, is to meet people where they are. We do this by going to the people, by building relationships, by getting to know them, by helping to meet their needs and making a difference in their lives. We do this in so many ways, but one of the big ways is through our homeless population. And I'm here to tell you tonight, in the past 9 months, we have been able to get 9 people off the streets. The only way that we did that was to meet them where they are. We built a relationship with them. We helped be able to gain their trust so that they would listen to us, so that they would seek wisdom and strength and counsel to hear from us and to be able to speak encouragement and support in their lives. All 9 of these people right now are in their own home or in their own apartment. They are living their life. They are working. They are striving to work. They either have current jobs or they're trying. So I would ask you tonight, and this is not to applaud ourselves, it's because of the help of other organizations like Crosspoint and the Dwelling Place. So I would ask you to table this ordinance and allow us the opportunity to come around the table together.
Thank you.
Sharon Clore.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council. I'm just a resident. And when I saw what was going to be on the agenda tonight, I thought, gosh, that's not a new problem. And it's not just at Ellsworth Park. It's all over this city, all over this town. These people have pets, some of them, and I've seen them feed their pet before they would eat themselves. My only concern is, and then I'm going to sit down, how is this going to be enforced? How is finding these people? They don't have a place to sleep, so where are they going to get money? People, where are you going to put them to work? We have people who are able-bodied and don't work. So I guess I don't see this as a solution to our homeless problem, and it is getting worse. Thank you.
Jermaine Light of Danville.
Hello. Well, I cannot lie. I actually am not from Danville, but thank you. I am from, I do have a rural Danville address, but I live in McHenry Township, and about 8 miles from here. So I appreciate that I am able to speak, that you allow that. I do appreciate that very much. And so many facts were already given. I'm just going to give a couple of emotional things here, okay? And a little story. So one night we had an event in the Heron, downtown Danville. And by the way, being a person from Vermilion County, as many of our rural folks do, we do most of our shopping in Danville, and I certainly do, and we also get involved with community events and so forth. And so we had an event at the Heron, and at the end we were about ready to walk out. We were cleaning up, and in walked a man, a homeless man, obviously, plopped himself down at the table and said, "I'm cold and I'm hungry." And it was wintertime. He said, "I'm cold and I'm hungry." And, you know, I never had anyone do that in front of me before. I mean, that's sad that I didn't realize what it was like, but I've never forgotten it. And we didn't, you know, no one seemed to know what to do with him. He said all the shelters are full. He said he'd even checked in Champaign and Urbana. There were no shelters there either. And he said he'd been walking the streets in Danville for 2.5 days without a place to lay his body down where he could sleep. And he was not just hungry and cold, but so tired he could hardly think. And, you know, so a couple of us women, a friend of mine, another rural person from Rossville, we took him to a local motel and got him a room for the night. Well, that's just one night and that's just one person. And you can't just do that's not sustainable. I mean, I was glad to do it that one time, and it's hard not to do something when someone just plops themselves down and says, "Help me." You know, but all kinds of ideas have been given here, and I have the feeling that this society here has some very positive feelings now about doing the right thing and doing something that's sustainable. It's going to cost too much money to take these people through court. It's not going to help them in the long run. It's going to perpetuate the system. If they have to pay fines and go to jail, it's not going to work. Folks, we have to have some other ideas. Is it against the policies or whatever ordinances to pass the hat here for this wonderful gentleman here who's running the shelter? I was just thinking it might be, we could use this sack right here and pass the hat. Would that be okay? Or is that not done just an idea that came to my head? If you don't want me to.
Maybe as folks, they have a website where you can give, and maybe as folks leave, Mr. Maine, that would be not certainly acceptable. I'd ask that you not do it during the meeting so that we can.
So right afterwards, okay, all right. I respect that. So, and then, the other thing is, I've seen this quote, and I can't even remember who said it, so maybe somebody can help me with that a society is judged not by how they treat their richest people, but by how they treat their poorest and their incarcerated. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That's all I have.
That's all I have. Dr. Haig, did I see you come in? Is there anyone else who wishes to address the council this evening? Thank you. We do not have any zoning petitions this evening. However, we do have the payrolls. Is there a motion to approve the payrolls of May 23rd and May 30th, 2025?
So moved. Second.
It's been moved by Vice Mayor Ludwig, seconded by Alderman Pickering. Any discussion or debate? Roll call vote, please.
Alderman Jones,
Yes.
Arns,
Yes.
Cooper,
Yes.
Butler, Wands,
Yes.
Bouchard,
Yes.
Hightower,
Yes.
O'Kane,
Yes.
Poor,
Yes.
Streebing,
Yes.
Pickering,
Yes.
Teague,
Yes.
Ludwig,
Yes.
12 yes.
12 yes, the motion carries. You also have before you the vouchers payable of May 22nd, May 27th, and June 3rd, as well as special runs of May 20. I'm sorry, you have them from May 27th and June 3rd, 2025. You also have special runs from May 22nd, 2025, and May 29th, 2025. Is there a motion to approve those?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion or debate?
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, Alderman T, go ahead.
I saw on the vouchers that there were payments to Farnsworth Group for the City Hall concept, another payment to Lockmuller for the riverfront concept design. I was wondering when those might be presented to council.
Yeah. Alderman Teague, this is Logan speaking. We don't have a hard date on when to expect those, but I do have a belief that the City Hall conceptuals should be wrapping up here in about a month or so. I did visit with them and I asked them on when they think they're moving full head of speed on it and believe conceptuals will be out. And I'd say around a month. The riverfront is kind of on the same schedule. So I believe that we'll probably have some conceptual designs that can come out in about a month or two, I'd say.
Vice Alderman Teague, do you have any additional questions?
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other further discussion or debate? Roll call vote, please.
Alderman Arns,
Yes.
Cooper,
Yes.
Butler, Wands,
Yes.
Bouchard,
Yes.
Hightower,
Yes.
O'Kane,
Yes.
Poor,
Yes.
Streebing,
Yes.
Pickering,
Yes.
Teague,
Yes.
Ludwig,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
12 yes.
12 yes, the motion carries. At this time, we'll receive our Public Services Committee report. Chairman Streebing.
All right, item number 12A, we have an ordinance amending Chapter 92.01 Fire Prevention and Chapter 92.02, the International Fire Code of the City Fire Code. I make the motion to approve and dispense with the reading and ask for your approval. I'll need a second, please.
Second.
Is there any questions on 12B's ordinance? If not, roll call, please.
Alderman Cooper,
Yes.
Butler, Wands,
Yes.
Bouchard,
Yes.
Hightower,
Yes.
O'Kane,
Yes.
Poor,
Yes.
Streebing,
Yes.
Pickering,
Yes.
Teague,
Yes.
Ludwig,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Arns,
Yes.
12 yes.
12 yes, thank you. Puts us to 12B. We have an ordinance regulating public camping with corporate boundaries and other actions in connection therewith for the city of Danville, Illinois. I make the motion to approve and dispense with the reading and ask for your approval. I will need a second, please.
Second.
And before I ask if anybody has any questions or anything, I'm going to let Assistant Chief Trey McCord. He's on top of this, and due to the fact the Chief's not here. So if you would, Chief, Assistant Chief.
Thank you.
I'll do my best to explain a lot of what the ordinance is about. We heard a lot of comments today. I'm kind of in a unique situation because I've been on the Danville Police Department for 28 years, and I'm also involved with Cross Points. I'm on the board with Cross Points. Molly Goodwin has allowed me to sit in on a few meetings, so I'm very familiar with the homeless problem that we're dealing with. A little bit of data-led intelligence for us that I came up with within the last year and a half. The Danville Police Department has had 160 contacts with people who list their address as homeless. Now, what that means is a police report was documented, and that person was contacted through that police report. What it doesn't cover is how many different times those people were contacted. I don't have a specific number for everyone, but I would say a reasonable number of those people were from out of town. Just real quick, I don't want to take up a lot of time, but I will go into a little bit of my personal experience in the 28 years I've been involved with the Danville Police Department and dealing with the homeless. I can't argue with a lot of the comments that were made today because I do see the need. I've dealt with the need myself, and I've went as far on several occasions to do everything that I can do for the homeless. I don't think what we're dealing with this ordinance are those people that want that help. There are a lot of people out there that want that help. They need that help. And the Danville Police Department, from an operational standpoint, is trained in a way to get the help for those people. We have so many resources here in Danville. Vermilion County has them, Danville does. Molly talked about it. Cross Points is a great agency ran by great people with fantastic people that work within Cross Points. When a police officer has contact with a homeless person, probably because we're dispatched there, the first reaction isn't to go up and arrest them. That's not what we do. We go up and we're gonna provide those resources to the best of our ability. I think probably what this ordinance is more about are those people that I was going to talk about a little bit that just maybe they don't want that help. Maybe they don't want the resources that are trying to be provided for them. And I've dealt with that. I've spent 2 days in dealing with an encampment downtown, visited different resources, doctors' offices and everything else, and they lied, and that's just part of our job. I get that. That's part of what a police officer does, but I just need everybody to understand it's just not we're not painting a picture of we're immediately going up and arresting and fining and by any means trying to incarcerate anyone. This ordinance is a civil law. It's not a criminal law. It doesn't go on anyone's record. It's handled civilly through the city attorney. DART was talked about a little bit. DART is a great resource that we started in April. I actually just got that report today from them. We have referred, because what DART is, it's a deflection team. It's something that they deflect law enforcement. They would deflect an arrest. We've made 7 referrals to DART. Of those 7, 4 referrals received agreed to services following an engagement with their specialist at a rate of 57%. I learned today that 57% is much higher than the average as far as deflection. 2 referrals are still in initiation. They've not agreed to services. 1 referral refused services, and 1 has been completely unresponsive. So this ordinance is put into place along with all of the resources that have been talked about, along with the department having a goal. I'm speaking on behalf of Chief Yates today, but we've spoke deeply about this. Our goal is to continue to help the community. This ordinance isn't being put in place, to replace that. We can still provide the DART referrals. We can still contact all the resources with this ordinance in place. This ordinance will be used when it's needed to for those that just absolutely refuse that help, that resource, Not very many arrests are made from dealing with the homeless. There's a picture up there, pictures going through. That's when it kind of gets out of control, and that's when we have to step in, use all of our resources and time. And I think with an ordinance like this that's being proposed, it can probably prevent that. I can tell you from pictures like that and situations I've dealt with, we've almost had buildings burnt down. We have had houses caught on fire. We've had firefighters injured because of fires that are started from homeless people inside abandoned residences. So I'm not saying they do it on purpose. I'm not saying that, you know, they aren't people that would use those resources, but this is a lot of the reason this ordinance is being proposed.
Thank you, Assistant Chief McCord. Does anybody got any questions for the Assistant Chief? Yes.
I want to know, is this one place right here? This is just one time, one place?
I apologize because I am not familiar with those pictures. I think those are from Ellsworth.
Yes, they are.
Okay. That is just one place.
Just one place,
Yeah.
right?
I can tell you within the last 6 months, we have probably dealt with at least 3 encampments that I'm aware of.
With this type of...
Yes.
Yes.
I had one. We had a neighborhood group meeting off of Oakwood Avenue, right in the city. And it was like this or worse. That was less than 3 weeks ago. So they're all over the place.
Alderman Jones, so here behind the hill, kind of in between the Carl development, where Leon's, Dr. Haig's office is, and
Where the old fish bait place used to be at?
yes, sir. So behind, and then if you go on South Logan, behind Big Lots, where Dr. Haig's office is, it's all behind there. Is where this has happened, and we've probably had 3 times that we've cleared out that area, I would say, alone. So that's not the only. This isn't the only time even there.
Who cleans the area?
Usually our public works workers end up doing it. But it's not only, this is not the only time, and this is not the only place that it's happened. As I think I mentioned to you earlier, prior to this, over in Carver Park, we had a major issue. I was getting calls from neighbors, from little old ladies, from the churches, and from Leak and Sons Funeral Home, saying that folks were coming out of the woods. They are panhandling, scaring people at all hours of the day and night and things like that. And what we found was in Carver Park was back by the water. We couldn't see it immediately from the road, was a situation that was as bad or worse than this. I remind everyone that just a couple of years ago, Memorial Bridge was nearly blown up from, you saw a propane tank in one of these pictures. Memorial Bridge literally almost was closed because there was an explosion and fire underneath the bridge because of issues that we have like this.
Yeah, and what happens, I know with this one and one we had before, it turns into a biohazard problem because of the needles, because of the fire danger that we deal with when we respond, and then when it gets cleaned up by the Public Works.
The thing that kind of tipped this off was we've had issues with this off and on. The folks from Leon's Diner called me and said, Mayor, we're having issues again. You know, we're trying to sell our building, but, you know, literally stuff is getting destroyed on our property. People are throwing trash on our property. People are stealing from our property. Dr. Haig has called me a half a dozen times or more. Her patients have called me and talked about how scared they are with their little kids. You know, a lot of people don't realize this, but Dr. Haig is one of the only pediatricians in this town. And quite frankly, she serves most of our poorest young people. So we're talking about hundreds of kids and families right now that their service is in jeopardy because folks are refusing help. And the thing that I think is challenging to me is that there's help out there. They are offered help by our police officers and our first responders first. They don't refuse that. You heard Brother Ewing from the mission say that they're going out and begging people to come to their places, and they're averaging 8 a night. They could serve 3 times as many people, and yet folks are still not taking the assistance that they need. And I think the bigger thing was, so Thursday before Memorial Day weekend, so many of you all know, we received a nearly $500,000 grant to do upgrades to Ellsworth Park. We've submitted several $100,000 of local dollars, and then also additionally, our staff has done tons of work out there. We have recently added 9 additional disc golf baskets. That gives us 18 so that we could offer tournaments, like sanctioned tournaments. So what tipped this most recent one off were calls from the business owners there, but then also they were going to be hosting that week a regional, our first sanctioned Professional Disc Golf Association tournament here. And when the organizer went down there, it smelled so bad that they could hardly be in the park from all of the feces, from the urine and other things that were in these encampments. So, not only are our local people doing it, not only our people at Dr. Haig's and at Carl having to deal with it, not only are the other neighbors in that area having to deal with it, but they're having to deal with it all over town. So it's impacting our people and it's impacting our visitors. One of the bad things is we have this perception you all recently saw. I can't remember if it said we were the left or the right armpit of Illinois. But then we get hundreds of people to come here from all over the state and all over the region for a professional tournament because we have a ranked course, and this is what they're greeted with. This is what our little kids, I know you have young children, this is what our kids and our families are seeing and dealing with when they're going into these places. We recently are in the midst of doing our 25-year comprehensive plan. We've had over 300 responses so far, and you know what? One of the number one things people said, we have amazing parks, but we don't use them or we're scared to use them because of the things that go on there. And so that's an issue right there. We had a subgroup of our staff members, and in that meeting, every woman expressed a concern about going to our parks, and especially those that had children. There are certain parks that they won't go to at all, or that they'll only go to during certain times of day because of issues like this.
Alderman Cooper.
Well, first of all the comments that were made tonight, I probably agree with about every one of them that was made. As far as this ordinance, is there a guideline from the state that we followed with this?
This was from the Illinois Municipal League, so this is actually an ordinance that has been tested all the way up to the Supreme Court.
Do we need this ordinance in place to stop this? Or can we stop this without an ordinance?
From a law enforcement standpoint, from operationally, my experience and what I'm aware of, what I've dealt with in at least the last 5 years, this ordinance would help us prevent this from happening.
Is it a necessity, though?
Well, I guess that'd be a matter of opinion. I can tell you that everything that was talked about today, I agree with you as far as what was said. I can't make any arguments. There are people that need help, but what I can tell you is everything that was talked about we can still do with this ordinance in place to help us as well, to help law enforcement for the safety of the public.
I get it. And, I guess, are there any shelter spaces other than Mr. Ewing's place available for these people? Is there a designated area where they could go camp out per se or whatever? I get it. We had one at Rawhide that one time. I had to remove him. Then we've had this one. I'm sure there's others too. But is there any area that could be designated for that purpose?
I think the problem you would have is if you designated that, you would run in most likely to the same problem you have here.
And when we talk to these people, I'm sure we're encouraging them to go to Mr. Ewing's place and all that, getting all the help there is. Would there be any problem if we tabled this for 30 days where you could get Miss Goodwin and this Leffler person input on it to maybe get additional information or whatever may be needed?
Alderman Cooper, I'll speak to a couple of things that you said. There are additional resources. So there's the YFRC for women and children. There is also the dwelling place has 2 houses that one of which we've actually helped fix up substantially, where intact families can go. And also with Brother Ewing and Danville Rescue, single men can go, but men with families can go there as well. So there are multiple options. And as you saw, their occupancy is on average a third of what it could be. So that means that there are folks in these situations who have a place to go, and that's what's hard for me to hear. I'm very proud that Danville is known as a loving and caring place. I had a fella email me and say, "Hey, Mayor, I have a buddy who's moving down. I believe he said from Texas. He's moving up from Texas, but he doesn't have any place to go. Is there? I know that the shelter closed. This was some months ago before they had reopened. Where can he go? He's got a bike and his dog, and where can he go?" And I said, unfortunately, young man, we don't have anywhere. I said, they're working on getting the mission back open. I said, but I have to ask you a question. Why would you come across the country to a place where you have no resources, no place to stay? And he said, because Danville has a reputation for being caring and doing everything that they can to help people. I mean, that's in writing from someone who is homeless himself, who is literally a homeless person is moving from across the country because this is such a giving community and because we do everything that we can to help people. I also have seen it said, that the city of Danville hasn't done anything to help homeless people. I'll tell you a couple of things that we've done. We provided tens of thousands of dollars of funding at the former mission. This was not Mr. Ewing and his board. They have nothing to do with this. So don't mix those two things up, okay? Tens of thousands of dollars for them to replace their electrical and their HVAC, their HVAC systems. We've provided, I would say, over $100,000 to the dwelling place in various forms to help them outfit the places where where people can shower and they can wash their clothes and things like that. Most recently, you all, with your support, we passed, I believe, close to $90,000 to restore their final house that they have over there on First Presbyterian Church. In addition, I know myself and others, there are others who donate food and other items regularly. I know that there are some people who give regularly, and I know that after this, that some of us have been challenged to give regularly and will be giving on a monthly basis. So when people say that the city has done nothing to help homeless people, that's absolutely false. In addition, we have met numerous times with the Ewings and the board. We have met with the Goodwins and with their board on numbers of occasions. We've met with wealthy folks in the city of Danville. We've met with poor folks in the city of Danville trying to come up with solutions. So what I would say to you is we've already been working on this a long time, and some people like the Goodwins and the Ewings far more intently than even I have as your mayor. And the thing is, Alderman Cooper, we don't have a solution yet. We don't have a solution. I hope that we can. I know that people are working on some things that are amazing, but to me, in the meantime, for us to do nothing is inaction. And while I want to help everyone, while I love everyone, we cannot risk the $30,000 for a handful of people. The state has invested hundreds of thousands and millions of dollars here to help us make our parks nice. We have. Are we just to turn around and let those things be destroyed? Are we to possibly lose our only pediatrician that helps low-income people in our community? Are we to possibly lose another business like Leon's? Are we to possibly subject people to the theft and burglary that happens in areas where this is happening? Again, this is, if we were offering no solutions, if the police did not have, forget about DART, because even before that they were doing things. Rihanna created a palm card to help people, refer people to resources. We've since added DART to get people connected to specific services. There are options for them here to use that they're not using, that they're choosing not to use. So the bottom line is we have to decide in the end, are we going to take care of public health and safety, of the greater good, or are we going to cater to a few people who are offered all kinds of assistance but not accepting it?
Well, I'm not saying anything, and I agree with what you're saying, and it's a problem that's not going to go away. Or it's a building problem, and I wish there was a simple solution to it. And I just, if I had one, I'd give it to you in a heartbeat. I read something about tiny houses. What's the deal with that one?
Yeah, so we are actively working with Ms. Garrett on that project. That should be coming in the next couple of months.
And is it geared hopefully toward the homeless, or is it,
I do not want to misrepresent her, but I can speak to, yes, I believe the intent is to create transitional housing for the homeless in the city of Danville.
Well,
yes.
Good. I'm glad we're doing something in regards to that then.
Yes, Alderman Arns.
lot of things to cover, but as Assistant Chief McCord talked about, I too am familiar with this. Over the last 3 decades, I was Public Works Director, and it was our crews that cleaned these up. They're not new. The area under Ellsworth, we cleaned up at least a half a dozen times during my tenure, and that bridge is falling down, and no one belongs anywhere near if this is near the area of Mill Street Bridge for any reasons. Having said that, there's been a lot of good people doing a lot of great work over the last 30 years trying to address this very same issue. And while there's been a lot of great successes during that time, there's also the fact that we still have the problem with us today. And so I think everyone has stepped forward to agree that this is not beneficial to those that are unhoused, nor is it beneficial to the community. And so I do think that there needs to be direction as to where it's going. I will be the first to say that I think it's unfortunate that after receiving $25 million of ARPA funds, this council and this leadership did not put a penny of it towards homelessness of a significant nature. I do not believe that. While we can talk about the Ewings, and God bless them for stepping forward at this time, there was a period of time we didn't have a homeless shelter. And it is up to this leadership group as the city council to work with others to figure out how we can continue to make sure that there will always be a homeless shelter. I believe that means annual funding through an endowment or through something that the city contributes. You know, we have a lot of good people doing a lot of great things, but paying utility bills and things like that take money. That's areas where perhaps instead of 17 million in Garfield, we could have spent 16. And we could have provided an endowment to support homelessness in this community. Those are the things that need to be looked at, and we need to work with these great people to come to those solutions. But that doesn't address this, and this needs to be addressed. And while we all appreciate that not everyone is out there by choice, most are not. I would agree with that statement. But I've also had family experiences, and sometimes that is their choice, and that is their preference. And that we cannot stop either. So there's a lot of services that need to be developed. There's a lot of services that need to be improved. And I believe that the city administration and its council has a role on a regular basis to ensure that a house is available for the homeless that want those services. But that's a different situation than those that don't. And the law enforcement needs a mechanism to deal with those that choose not to. And I believe this does begin to address that. In our days, we had to go through the entire process of going to get a warrant and a court order to go in and clean these out. That doesn't give them the time and flexibility they need to take care of the problem. The problem needs to be taken care of before it gets to this stage. And I think as people learn that the city is committed to doing those things, they will be more likely to report and help out. So with all due respect, I'm prepared to do whatever the council is. I'm okay with moving forward with it. I'm also okay if everyone feels that there should be more time. But I don't think it's beneficial for anybody to assume any meaningful decisions or solutions can be developed in the near term without financial resources, and that's going to take the city. So Mayor, I'm glad to hear yourself and Mr. Cronk are looking into a true long-term solution for a building or structure. And I look forward to how quickly that can come to us. But I think as budgets are tight, I think we have to decide in the community, as a community, are we going to make sure everybody has a place to go to?
Alderman,
if they choose not to, then that's on them.
Alderman Orange, just to address a couple of things that you said. Number one, you could not create an endowment with ARPA funds because they had to be fully allocated and expended within a certain period of time. However, we have, and we've discussed this here publicly in this council, and we've discussed it privately, exploring the option of providing, and I've mentioned this to the Ewings and others as well, that making out of our CDBG funding annual allocations, greater allocations for this issue of homelessness. So just know that that's already been discussed both publicly and privately, and it's in the works. And when we come up to our budget discussions, that will likely be there.
I just got something short to say.
Okay.
So I feel that everything with that we got going on in the ordinance is a great thing for us and for the community and for our kids and for our parks and stuff like that. But I feel as if we put too much on the police department and on the city council and not enough on the community. If since so many of the community have came out and spoke on the homelessness and caring for it and wanting to change it, I feel like the community should indulge more in helping, getting out there, cleaning the parks, because I know, for instance, when I had to clean something up, it made my brother or my other brothers clean stuff up after their self because they know that I was cleaning it up, because I don't want to, basically, we don't want to disable them, but we want to, make sure they know we care, that we want them to grow and get better and, to move on with life and not be stuck in just being homeless,
Thank you. Alderman Teague, do you have any comments?
Yes, I do. Can you hear me?
We can hear you, yes.
So my biggest concern, let me say this, I appreciate and understand the position of the police department and that the city are in, both from a public safety perspective, a liability perspective, all those different perspectives. And I can appreciate and respect where Chief Yates, Deputy Chief McCord, and others are coming from in terms of we as a city have to do something. The thing that concerns me, and it concerned me last week on public services, and then I've had subsequent conversations with many other people since then who called me after the public services meeting, and they were able to provide me with additional detailed information. The thing that concerns me most is that our local resources have not put together a plan of action and have not had the opportunity to put together a plan of action to be prepared for the influx and the uptick of use of their services. So just on sheer numbers alone, I believe that the mission, or whatever it's called now, I don't know I can't remember the name, currently can hold less than 30 people. They have 8 currently. I also know that the dwelling place has been serving, their numbers are much higher. They've been serving more than 70 on their, when they feed, for a little while. Well, if the mission were to fill up, and we already know that, I believe that Cross Point, they serve, women with children or victims of domestic violence situations, and those beds are close to full. That there is a imbalance in the number of people needing to be served versus the number of services that we have. So my biggest concern is that our service providers have not had the opportunity to prepare for the uptick that could happen as a result of implementing this. The other concern that I have is that, so let's say this passes tonight, which means that as of tomorrow, or whatever day that it gets signed, it could go into effect. A person could get, if all of a sudden our police force is out and saying, hey, you can't camp, we need you to go someplace else, and those services become full, then what? And like the example that someone gave during public comment, I have no place to go, or like the person that called the mayor when the mission was closed, well now the mission is open, but it could be full, and they still wouldn't have a place to go. So that person could be on the street and therefore potentially get a ticket or be referred for services that are now full, for which they still don't have a place to go. And based on what's in the ordinance now in terms of the escalation, it only takes less than a full week for that person to escalate to the highest level of fine. because it only takes 5 instances to get to the $750 level for the fine, and all of our services might be full in that time period. And so that is my biggest concern, and I believe, based on the conversations that I've had with some of the service providers, many of whom commented during public comment this evening, all they want is an opportunity to get prepared for the uptick so that all of these things can move together in tandem. Because otherwise, the people who actually want the help, who would actually take advantage of the services, if those services are not available because they're all full, they're the ones who are going to be caught in the crossfire and punished because we put this ordinance in place without a strategy. And I agree we need to do something, but I also agree that we need to give our service providers the opportunity to respond so that they can work with the police department in doing something to be able to provide services for those who want them. And then those who don't, then they make a choice. It's a choice that they made. But we can't put everybody in a situation where, well, once the service is full, then, you know, we have people who want services and are unable to get them to now be stuck in a situation that they didn't choose. And so that's been my concern all along. And having the conversations that I had with people this week gave me numbers to show me that my concerns were valid. And so my position is that we should table this for a period of time just so that, and only so that, our service providers can actually get themselves prepared for the uptick of services. Because we already know that some of our service providers, like the dwelling place, for example, they're already serving more than 70 every day, or every day that they serve food, which means we have a volume already, and we do not have enough beds available at the shelter to provide for all of those people.
My concern with that statement, and I understand your premise, and it's correct, but the issue is they already have that option and they are not choosing it. They already have the option and yet they are not choosing it. So if we were full, and that would be a completely different story to me, but we are not. The dwelling place houses are open. The men's mission is at 1/3 of their capacity, so we are not full. Those people that are out here camping, they are the ones, and I believe Mrs. Goodwin and others would tell you, they are also the ones who are coming to the dwelling place to get food already. So they're not, these folks are already getting services that are provided, and those who aren't are not doing so either by choice or because of their own struggles.
So I want to make sure that I understand correctly. So we're saying that of the 70 or so people that have been served at the dwelling place on a regular basis, every single one of them have been aware of the services available at the shelter and have turned them down. That let's say there were 77, just so it'll be easy math, or 78, because I think they had said they have 8. So if 78 people went to the dwelling place today, 70 of them were told about the shelter and said no. Can we confirm that to be true?
We can't confirm that to be true, but I can tell you from speaking with volunteers at the shelter that they are notified of the different options in there. And as Mr. Ewing testified to us, they literally go to the places where these folks are staying and ask them to go to the shelter. Our police ask them to go to the shelter. I have asked people in my own neighborhood, please come to the shelter. There's a place for you. It's safe. And they still don't go to the shelter. So while I know, please maintain decorum, please. The shelter is not full. It is absolutely not full. You just heard that from the director of the citizen. To shout otherwise is wrong and dishonest. Close. Please stop, or I will ask you to be removed from the building. The bottom line is Can I say, but Alderman Teague, with any certainty that every person knows? No. Can I tell you that generally in this community that people know and that people are told at the shelter, that they're told by, or that they're told when they visit the dwelling place, when they're visiting other social services, when they come to the city, when they call my office, when they call the city of Danville, when they call the police, when they see the police, are they told about the shelter? Absolutely, 100%.
Alderman, Chairman.
Yes, Alderman Poor.
Thank you. Now, first, that is totally unacceptable. We all receive from the Illinois Municipal League the legislative state house briefing. The one we received Friday has a Bill of Rights of the homeless. House Bill 1429. It was just passed in the 104th session.
It was not passed.
It was not passed?
No.
Okay.
As of June 1st, it did not advance during the spring session.
Well, then I won't say anything, but it did amend the Bill of Rights for the Homeless Act, prohibits the state or a unit of local government from creating or enforcing policies or ordinance imposing fines or criminal penalties against people that are facing homelessness. So, I mean, that's out there in the legislative world right now. I'm like some of the others. I mean, how many of these organizations that spoke have had an opportunity to give input on this ordinance?
The question I would ask, Chairman, is how many of them provide the services of sheltering that they could properly inform this?
No, I mean, from what resources they have.
Right.
From not only this Vermilion County, but all over the state and other communities.
Yeah.
I mean, are there other options out there that we could incorporate into this? You know, I don't know. It just seems, you know, that not that we're penalized, but we are penalizing the people that don't have a pot to piss in. We're going to fine them and fine them and fine them. How are they going to pay?
They can work it off to help clean up the community. And my thought is, if you are helping create the mess, then you could help clean it up.
Well, I have no problem with you helping clean it up, but
it says at the rate of minimum wage, so at $15 an hour. So if they get a ticket, they would have to do 5 hours of community service. It's the same for a host of other penalties that we have in our community, not just homelessness.
And I believe the other night, Chief H was very strict on this and stated he needed this for another tool in the toolbox. That's all he was after. And it did pass our committee 6-1, so.
Chairman.
Yes.
If I could, Chairman. Yes, as Chief Yates pointed out, this isn't aimed at criminalizing homelessness. It provides our legal authority to address encampments.
Counsel, could you please lean a little bit forward in the mic we're having?
Sure.
Thank you.
It allows our legal authority to address encampments that pose significant health and safety risks, like you're seeing in the pictures. And for anybody listening that can't see the pictures, it can be described at Ellsworth Park as deplorable. And these pose significant health and safety risks. And our ordinance, it states that in section 10I, that the imposition of any penalty pursuant to this section shall be mitigated by whether or not the person immediately removed all personal property and litter. There doesn't have to be a fine imposed. There doesn't have to be community service. It's the last thing we're wanting to do. We don't need to collect fines from the inhabitants of these encampments. What we're trying to do is address the significant health and safety risks. And I think Mr. Arns and the mayor have both pointed out that this ordinance is designed to address these encampments. And as in May, I believe Chief Yates indicated services were offered and were refused. We do have resources, and everybody that came here and commented today, speaking about all the resources, that can still happen. This is to address the inhabitants of these encampments that refuse services. And I think if you take another look at the ordinance, we can mitigate any penalties. And there were personal property. They can, of course, take their personal property, their food. Of course they can. If it's left behind, that's when our Public Works Department has to take care of it.
Thank you, Corporate Counsel. Does any of the other aldermen have? Yes, Mike?
Well, I've been asked, and my wife and many of these social groups, that they need some time to review this and to put some kind of plan together to coordinate with this. And they all agree that this is probably a very necessary thing that needs to be done. But they've asked for some time. And I think that we should give them some time, one way or another, either by a postponement of the vote or change of the ordinance. And I don't think you guys want to change the ordinance. So I would say we need to at least have a 30-day grace period. We postpone this where these groups can get together and get back to us and tell us anything that we need to talk about before we vote on it. Because I've heard that we should be listening to them and talking to them, but that we haven't had a chance to get their full views besides what here at this one night. So I would suggest that we do a 30-day.
Let me hear what Ms. Wands has to say, and then we'll go back to your motion. How's that? Made a motion. Ms. Wands?
I just want to say that I appreciate everything that these different groups do. You're needed, you're wanted, and you help a lot of people. And I want to say I appreciate that. I love people too. We were in the ministry for 30 years, and all we did was help people. That was our main goal, to help people. And it's still my goal, to help people. I appreciate the shelter. But this disturbs me. He's got his heart in a place of help, of helping. And people are rejecting the help. How do you explain that? Okay, there's a place, a bed, there's food. You don't have to encamp. You don't have to be on city property messing things up for other people. You can go to the shelter. You can have food. You can have safety. They don't have to worry about sleeping at night. And he has 8 when he can hold 24. What's the problem? I don't understand it. There's about tabling it. Mr. Arns, Alderman Arns now, I appreciate you. I appreciate what you had to say. It has been a problem for many years. We've had many years to fix this problem, and we still have this problem. Why are we putting something off that is a instrument that will help us with this problem? It doesn't make sense, people. It doesn't make sense. Yes, you need to get together. I agree there. City needs to help. I totally agree there. I'm with you. I love people. I want to help people. But we've had 30 years at least, according to Mr. Arns, Alderman Arns, sorry, to help people. We shouldn't quit trying to help people. Absolutely not. There's legitimate people who need help, need your care, need your love. We need to help those people that are trying to help themselves. But when there's help there and they refuse that help, it's not the city's problem, it's not these organizations' problems, it's those people's problem. I would like to see his
mission filled every night with these people who need that help, but they refuse the help. How can you help somebody that doesn't want to be helped? I'm sorry, but you can't. 30 years in the ministry, when they came in, we would do anything for them to help them. But if they didn't want help, you can't help them. I'm sorry. That's how I believe and how I feel. And I'm here to help anybody I can help. And I mean that sincerely. But you got to want to help yourself. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman. So we're back to Mike.
Well, I'll try it. A 30-day postponement to bring it back, what, July the 1st? Is that the first?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Second.
We got a second. Okay.
Mrs. Pickering, I think. Did you?
Ms. Pickering?
Well, my question is, why even?
Alderman,
I'm
Chickering,
sorry.
thank you.
Even if we would pass this tonight, why can't these organizations come to us anyway? There's nothing in this ordinance that said we can't work together. There's nothing that would change. So that's why I hate to put it off, because we do need to get something done now.
All right, we got a motion and a first. Yes.
Thank you, Chairman. This and the issue of blight are two of the biggest issues that we face in our community. We also have an issue of public safety, but thanks to the great work of our Danville Police Department and the ordinances that you all support and the way this community has rallied and supported them, our crime has, despite whatever you read online, has gone down substantially, especially violent crime, by over 60% over the last number of years. We are working hard on this blight issue. We have demolished over 400 structures compared to less than 50 in as many years in the previous time before that. We've won additional millions of dollars. Logan and his team have won additional millions of dollars to help people fix up their homes so that hopefully they don't wind up in these kind of circumstances. We've spent millions of additional dollars tearing down blight. I have people that complain, we have folks like Mr. and Mrs. Olmsted who are here before us tonight talking about a bad house that's next door to them. Now imagine if instead of a bad house, you had people going to the bathroom and using drugs and stuff so bad that you couldn't even open your windows, so bad that it was nearly ruining your medical practice when you're a person who takes care of the least of these, so bad that it makes it next to impossible for you to sell your building. And not because there are no options, not because they aren't offered help, but because they don't accept it. And so while I believe in helping every person, as Mrs. Wan said, they have to help themselves. And we have to think about what is the greater good. And the truth is, we cannot sacrifice 30,000 people and everything that we've worked so hard to improve in this community for the sake of a handful of people who are not willing to change. And I ask you, and I've asked this, and it sounds facetious and it sounds rude, and I promise you it's not, but I have to ask you, are you willing to let them move into your backyard? I've asked some of you that question, and the answer was no.
Exactly.
And if you are willing, then take them there. Because are you willing to let them be outside of your business so that you have to smell that? Outside of your house, so you have to smell that? Are you willing to allow your wife, daughter, granddaughter, niece, cousin be in fear to go to the freaking park? If you can't say yes to all of those things, or you don't have some other immediate solution, as Alderman Aaron said, even if we give it 30 days, there's not going to be a solution in 30 days. I am excited. I'm thankful for all the great work served together, Step Up, everyone, the Dwelling Place, Danville Rescue. I appreciate everything you do. There will not be a solution in 30 days. This is not even the ideal solution, but it is something, as Chief Yates said, it is something that allows us to help our citizens. And quite frankly, this is allowing and causing the majority of our citizens to suffer. I've talked to so many people that say that they support this ordinance, but guess what? They didn't come here this evening. You know why? Because they don't want to be branded as a bigot or somebody that's heartless or that doesn't care. So I can tell you there's equally as many and actually way more people that do support this ordinance than those who don't. but they are scared of saying anything. There are people in this room that I have talked to about this issue that are in the audience right now that are not saying anything because they don't want to be branded as heartless or a bigot or not concerned about people. But the bottom line is, unfortunately, we have to choose what is the greatest good. So I am asking you not to postpone this vote. I am asking you to give our police officers a tool that they need to help the vast majority of our citizens and to make sure that we have good public health and public safety.
All right, we've got a motion in a second, and I guess it's amendment to 12B's ordinance to give it a 30 days hold for a vote. It'll be in July 1st meeting. So with that, I'll have a roll call, and a no means no, and a yes means yes.
That's right. A yes means that you wish to table this issue. A no means you wish to vote on it this evening.
Roll call, please. Thank you.
Alderman Butler, Wands,
No.
Bouchard,
Yes. Yes.
Hightower,
I've been homeless, so it's a yes.
O'Kane,
Yes.
Poor,
Yes.
Streebing,
No.
Pickering,
No.
Teague,
Yes.
Ludwig,
No.
Yes.
Jones, Arns,
With confidence of the officers, no.
Cooper,
Yes.
7 yes.
7 yes, the motion fails.
All right. So we're back now to.
Just a quick explanation, Chairman, if I
Yes,
may, for
go
the
ahead.
citizens.
Go ahead.
By state statute, 8 yes votes are required to pass a motion or for an ordinance or a resolution. So given that there were only 7 yes votes, the motion failed.
So we're getting a majority? I'm just asking.
No, sir.
All right, so puts us back to 12B, the ordinance regulating public camping with corporate boundaries and other actions in connection therewithin for the city of Danville, Illinois. Danville, Illinois? I put my glasses on. My goodness, that's what's wrong. So 12B's ordinance, roll call, please.
Alderman Wands,
Yes.
Bouchard,
Yes.
Hightower,
No.
O'Kane,
Because I believe in our policemen, yes.
Poor,
No.
Streebing,
Yes.
Pickering,
Yes.
Teague,
No.
Ludwig,
Yes.
Jones,
No.
Arns,
Yes.
Cooper,
Yes.
8 yes.
8 yes, thank you, the motion carries. Puts us to 12C, we have a resolution authorizing and accepting a donation and amending FY 25-26 Police Department, budget number 21, specifically Fund 620, Friendly Town Preservation Fund. I will make the motion to approve and dispense with the reading and ask for your approval. I'll need a second, please.
Second.
Is there any questions on Resolution 12C? If not, roll call, please.
Alderman Bouchard,
Yes.
Hightower,
Yes.
O'Kane,
Yes.
Poor,
Yes.
Streebing,
Yes.
Pickering,
Yes.
Teague, Ludwig,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Arns,
Yes.
Cooper,
Yes.
No, somebody turn the lights on.
That's why we're having trouble.
Yeah.
Let's reboot.
We're in the dark.
Oh.
Thank you.
Sorry.
12 yes.
Excuse me, dear.
12 yes.
12 yes, thank you. The motion carries. Puts us to 12D. We have a resolution authorizing the amendment under IHDA Strong Communities Program, Round 2, PID number 52431. I make the motion to approve and dispense with the reading and ask for approval. I'll need a second, please.
Second.
Is there any questions on 12D's resolution? Not roll call, please.
Alderman Hightower,
Yeah.
O'Kane,
Yes.
Poor,
Yes.
Streebing,
Yes.
Pickering,
Yes.
Teague, Ludwig,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Arns,
Yes.
Cooper,
Yes.
Butler, Wands,
Yes.
Bouchard,
Yes.
12 yes.
12 yes, thank you, the motion carries. Puts us at 12E, we have a resolution amending FY 25-26 budget to reflect increased Illinois Housing Development Authority, IHDA Strong Communities Program, SCP grant amount. Make the motion to approve and dispense with the reading and ask for your approval. I'll need a second, please.
Second.
Is there any questions on 12E's resolution? If not, roll call, please.
Alderman O'Kane?
Yes.
Poor?
Yes.
Strebing?
Yes.
Pickering?
Yes.
Teague? Ludwig?
Yes.
Jones?
Yes.
Arns?
Yes.
Cooper?
Yes.
Butler? Wands?
Yes.
Pashard?
Yes.
Hightower?
Yes.
12 yes.
12 yes, thank you. The motion carries. Item 12F is, I'll need a motion and a second to approve and place on file the treasurer's report for September and October of 2024.
So moved.
Second.
Is there any questions on the treasurer's report for October and September of 2024? I would like to say thank you and the finance department for an outstanding, I know it was hard for the last year, believe me. Thank you for all your hard work on both departments. Thank you. Thank you very much. And with that, all those in favor of 12F signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you. Puts us to G, items of information. I don't have any. Anybody have anything? No?
I do have just one thing.
Oh, yeah,
Sorry.
we got something over there.
Okay. Well, actually, two things. Sorry, I lied. First is the summer luau is coming up. That is this Friday. It starts at 5 p.m. and our tickets are $15. We're close to selling out. We would love to sell out this year. And just a note, not to add fuel to the flames at all, but we do all of our leftover food we try to bring to the Danville Rescue. We did that with our neighborhood association, so don't feel too bad if you miss out. I totally get it, and we will be trying to use our resources and make sure we're not wasting any money.
Do you have
and
tickets with you?
I'm sorry?
Do you have tickets with you?
I do not have tickets with me, but we're selling them on site and you can order them online.
If they're almost sold out, better get them online, right?
Yep, I'd probably suggest trying to get them online if you want some. And then the second thing is the City of Danville is still doing some meetings for the comprehensive plan. We have two coming up this week. One is Thursday, 5:30 to 7, and that's at Crossroads Church up North Vermilion there. And then our second one is Mad Goat South. That is on Friday, and it's from 11 to 12:30. And if you miss them at either of those two locations, they'll be sitting at a table for First Fridays. So if you get your dinner ticket, you can also hit up the comprehensive plan in the same night.
I will tell you, if you're going to go to either one of those two places, some of the first time we met, not at Mad Goat, you better get there early to get a seat because it packs up fast.
Yeah, we did the What's Brewing with Mayor Williams, and we
Yes.
had a really great turnout. It filled quickly. And then I did a second live because I have three things. So the
Okay.
third thing is just a reminder. I posted on social media and sent some notices out to everyone. The city of Danville has a irrigation, is that how you pronounce it? Aggregation, thank you. Program for electricity in the city, and what it does is it negotiates lower electricity prices. All of your power still comes through Ameren, but it's just an annual thing. You can opt out of it if you want to. Again, I post that on our social media. It's also on our website, where you can come up to me directly, and I'm happy to provide that phone number for anybody who needs it.
Mayor, how long have we had that, and how much has we actually saved
We've had
over
it
the
since
years?
2013. Sorry, Mayor. I know you asked that question that way, but we've had it since 2013. I believe it's up for contract at the end of this year.
Yeah.
And then, so for kilowatts from home field, let's see here. Our rate is 0.119, and then Ameren's is 0.1254. So I know it doesn't seem like a lot, but at the end of the year, when you're getting through a hot summer from the Midwest or a real cold winter, it does save you a bit.
Yeah.
What
It's
confused
in millions of dollars.
It's millions, yes.
What
yeah.
confused people is Homefield sent that letter out, and everybody's going, "What's this? I don't want to switch. I like what we have." Well, they don't realize they have Homefield now,
Yeah.
Yes.
and not Ameren.
And so the unique thing is that Ameren can increase their rates at any time. They do not have to notify us. They don't have to say anything to any customers. Homefield cannot do that. Our contract secures the rate that they provide us now. So if Ameren increases their rates in 3 months and you opt out, that's the rate that you're stuck with. If you opt in for home, or you don't even have to opt in, you just leave your utility bill how it is. You get that lower rate and you don't have to mess with anything. Your bill still comes from Ameren. Nothing changes.
Thank you. Yes. Alderman Ludwig?
I just wanted to mention that it's very easy to purchase your tickets for the luau online. So super simple.
Okay. Did you get mine?
Also, what's that?
Did you get mine?
You want me to? Okay, and also the Center City Neighborhood Association's having their meeting this Thursday. That's June 5th at 7 p.m. So hope.
And this is mainly Ward 1.
Yes.
So you guys will be meeting upstairs because they have another event downstairs. So we'll be meeting upstairs at Central Christian Church at 7. And David Rui is our guest speaker.
Yeah. Alderman Cooper?
In regards to that home field, how many, we bid with a bunch of other communities on
That's
that.
true.
How many communities do we bid with? You know, I've been asking.
I don't know how many others. I do know that Bloomington, I think, is in ours, and Westville was added to ours this time. It's a number of them.
Yeah.
So, because basically what happens is because we're able to buy such a large amount, and that's how we get the discount by being combined with the other communities.
That's what I thought. I just want to make sure.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Any other questions? Well, Mayor, I think we fulfilled everything, public services.
And then some.
Thank you.
And then some. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Chairman.
I'm done.
I appreciate you. At this time, we'll receive our Public Works Committee report. Chairman Poor.
Well, now they've been added as a 13.
Lucky number 13.
It is lucky. We will meet in these chambers at 6 p.m. next Tuesday. Everyone's welcome.
Thank you. All right.
Yes.
Mayor, I got a question.
Yes.
I guess we had an idiot or a couple idiots played with fire out at Winter Park, which I hope they get caught and charged with a felony. But do we have cameras out there, or can we get cameras out there?
So we currently do not have cameras in place. We are working on pricing and looking at availability of what it would take to get cameras in place. We've already spoken and met with the IT department out there. We've got one quote back, working on some other options. We've already spoken with Ambucks as well about what their kind of their involvement and desires are as well. So we're in process of trying to eliminate this from being an issue in the future, to where we're able to possibly eliminate, future incidents like this.
Yeah, no, I think it's stupid. Bad to say. It's probably a necessity that we need to be looking at that. So I don't think Winter's probably the only one.
We're doing an assessment of all of our parks, Alderman.
Okay.
I would also like to I'll just make a note since you brought that up. We initially went ahead and we just cleaned up the park's restrooms right now. They're safe to use, however, need a lot of paint, still smell like smoke a little bit. After opening them back up, we received a couple complaints. We have ordered, and they might be out there right now, some handicapped accessible porta potties. And until we're able to get our crews in there and get everything repainted and back to normal, we're not going to open them back up, but there will be access to those porta potties until that happens. I'm hoping here within a couple weeks we've got everything completely restored and ready to be back opened up.
On a holiday weekend like that, are the restrooms open all the time, or would
they get locked every night at 9 o'clock and then open back up in the morning?
Okay.
Somebody overslept or something.
Yeah. No.
That was
I got a question for Mr. Rui. I was going to the post office on Sunday to drop something that had to be out. And when I come back through here, I come down Hazel here, and I'm watching what they're doing in the building over here. There's 3 or 4 young adults, parking garage over here. Now, you know where you enter and exit, right here from where we leave City Hall. There's a concrete awning or whatever that goes. They were climbing and playing all over this thing. Is there anything we can put a fence up on that thing so that they can't get out on that before we have another child killed over there?
Yeah, I think that's something we can definitely look at getting a solution put together for sure. I would also encourage, just if anyone sees kids playing like that in a dangerous situation, please get a hold of the police department and see if we can get them, off of that. We don't want to have anybody.
I don't know how long they were up there, but when I was going by, they were just getting off of it and getting back in the parking garage. So
yeah, we'll get a.
I mean, it's the only place they could. Why they'd want to stand, who knows? But it's all open where they can do it. So.
I've seen them skateboard on there.
Well, I've seen. Yeah, I have to come. Yeah.
I just heard them skateboarding
Thank
over
you.
there not too long ago.
That's all.
Oh, didn't I say that was it? That was it.
All right, thank you,
Can I
Chairman.
say one more?
appreciate
Can I say one thing? Just I had some residents call me recently about the destruction of houses and how the public works go to the houses and stuff like that. And I've just been getting complaints about how they go about getting to do the job. Basically, people are calling me saying that it's like kind of they've been coming to their house, beating on their doors early in the morning, waking up the whole house, just being kind of disruptive to the house. Just in for instance, I think we should give people more of a heads up before we do things around their house, like any type of destruction of houses and stuff like that. Because I don't think they're really getting informed before, And it's kind of like I'm just getting calls about being disturbed early in the morning because a house is getting destroyed next door or something like that. And they're not getting informed, basically, is what they're saying.
Yeah. Well, we don't if it's just a standard demolition, we don't normally inform people of that. Most people are happy that we're getting the bad house next door to them down, but I understand about it being early.
Yeah, just like early in the morning, waking them up, kids there, stuff like that.
What time's early?
Like 5, 6, they said.
Oh, they aren't there. We aren't there at 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning. Maybe 7.
They called me and said.
No,
Well,
that's not.
I can, Alderman, I can just tell you from having done this a long time, unfortunately, people call and tell you a lot of things, and sometimes they're true and many times they are not. And I'm not saying anybody's lying to you. I'm not saying
I just
that.
brought it up because I forgot to mention it earlier.
No, I got it. Thank you. Thank you. You'll be glad to know we don't have a need of closed session. Are there any items of information for the good of the cause?
Oh, that's what we're supposed to tell about all this other stuff.
Having satisfied Alderman Arms.
Mayor, not so much an item of information, but I think you had discussed we were going to have some updates on some of the matters, litigation, negotiations for the new members to try to get us up to speed. So I didn't know if that was going to be scheduled here soon, hopefully.
Absolutely, yeah.
And then, as have talked, want to get together and talk about some of our building construction inspections, things of that nature, and how we're approaching that as well as the others. So, thank you.
Very good. Thank you. Now, yes, Alderman Wands.
Little advertisement.
For the dance.
The Danville Dans have been playing now for a week, and I got my boys today, so I'm happy again. There's a game going on right now, which I'm headed to as soon as we're finished here. The stadium looks amazing with all the upgrades and everything. I really would encourage everyone to, if nothing else, just to go out and take a look and support the Danville Dans, because they bring a lot of interest to the community and a lot of, to be blunt, a lot of money. So get out there and support them and cheer for your team, so we can make sure to keep the Danville Dans and not let them disappear like some of our other sports teams. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman. Just so you'll know, we are working on having a city night at the Danville Dans, so hopefully we'll be letting you know as soon as we solidify that date here soon. So, having satisfied the agenda, at this time I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. We are adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Teague.
Thank you, Alderman.